It's a fun Friday on the Locked On Hornets podcast. David Walker joins us once again, and he's got a list of topics to discuss. It's all coming up today, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's Locked On Hornets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available on all platforms. That includes YouTube, by the way. You can follow us on Twitter at Walker Mail, Doug on Twitter at Doug Branson LOH, and the show handle on Twitter at Locked On Hornets. Also, our guest, David. Got to get his Twitter handle in there, too. David B. Walker. David, I mean, the text messages, the takes, the topics, they are oozing out of your pores.
He was thirsty.
You are thirsty to talk about not only just the Charlotte Hornets, but everything NBA. How are you doing? And I'm just happy that we can provide you the platform to do so.
Oh my God. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Some of those were a bit off, off the cuff, shot from the hip, but I mean, let's do it. Let's rip through it. I gave you 35. So I mean, it was 45 seconds each.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. You gave us quite a bit. In fact, I copied and pasted your text into the rundown that we have that Doug and I share.
Official.
And yeah, well, and I mean, there's quite a bit of lines. Let's just say I had to scroll down to fit it all into one page.
Yeah, I mean, you guys tweeted it out, like I said, so that made it official. So now the people want to know. I mean, what were the thoughts? What were the ideas?
They were. So let's go to the first one. And then it kind of inspired me to look through some more fake trades for some other player candidates out there. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. But this was the first part. I kind of want to break this show into different parts of David's text. And I want to read the first one. Random topics if you guys don't have anything better, or even if you do. Trades to trade. We absolutely don't.
Clearly.
Trades to move off money. ... Would you trade for Zion? Question mark.
Yes.
Yes, I think I would trade for Zion. I think that is something that would entice me.
I think he's in a weird. I think he's in a weird situation in New Orleans. I think a change of scenery is just what he needs. It'd be the perfect cure.
He definitely does not want to be there. I mean, that looks clear to me.
Charlotte's way better than New Orleans. I'll put it on the record.
Well, yeah, let's explore this more before we play. Okay, fair enough. Let's explore this more.
That's not a popular opinion, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know that you are not oozing a hot take yourself. We don't need to get the hot take machine out. I don't even know if we have access to the hot take machine. Is that thing at your house, Doug?
No. Yeah. No, you can't. You think you can put that on an airplane? You think it would literally melt through the bottom of the airplane and fall into Farmer Dave's barn somewhere?
The Sky Marshals are not going to let that.
What this thing is radioactive. There is this. It's like, you know how heat will make whatever you're looking at kind of melty all around it. Your whole bag is melty. And no.
How do you think? You remember when we were growing up, all those stories of like cow mutilations and alien? How do you think those cows were mutilated? It was because hot take machines were dropping out of the sky and burning through them.
Yeah, you got that on Area 51 and decided to bring it back to Nashville. Somehow we won't ask questions how you got it back. But trading for Zion, like, I just wonder if the Charlotte Hornets are they big game fishing? Doug, I know you've kind of wanted them to do that. You've said, let's forget about some of these other deals that are just to move off money. Russell Westbrook, he's a big fish, but like he's the one you kind of just want to leave in the pond and let live for the remainder of his career.
Well, we should stop and mention that all of this talk that we've had about Russell Westbrook. It seems that whatever team acquires him will look to waive him, according to some of the reports that I've seen. So, even if the Charlotte Hornets did get Russell, it would be simply a move to get off some money. And I'm not sure how the specifics of that would work. But I would certainly be in favor of that kind of move for Russell, as opposed to one that paired him in the backcourt with LaMelo Ball.
It's a whole new ball game. And David, I know you kind of read that too from Mark Stein, who's been all over this as much as anybody, that Russell Westbrook might be the guy the Charlotte Hornets are looking for, only to create some cap flexibility. And I'm not sure how that would eat into it when they buy him out, they trade for him, they buy him out. They presumably get rid of Gordon Hayward in that deal. Not exactly sure if Terry Rozier would be included with some salary filler here and there. I don't know, but that would make it palatable. And you're talking about a whole different ball game if we're talking about Russell not playing on the court alongside LaMelo next year.
Yeah. And then, guys, you mentioned Terry being thrown in there. And my thought was, you still got to have somebody to play, right? Like if you ship out Hayward and Rozier and you bring Russell in and he's gone immediately. Well, now what are we going to do? Right. So You got to find someone else to play. You got to find someone else to make shots. Russell would not have made any shots, but Terry certainly makes shots every once in a while, and Hayward, when healthy, he makes shots as well. So there's just a lot that goes into that one, right? There's a lot to figure out from the Russell Westbrook standpoint. It solves one problem, but it kind of creates some more holes there. So that's what just got me thinking. And they've got to get creative. They've got to find that guy who's maybe just fed up with the situation or ready to move on or disgruntled, and who is good. And Zion checks a lot of those boxes. It's the health with him. It's keeping him happy. A fit with LaMelo and Zion. I mean, that would be tempting. And lastly, I just wanted to get this generating. I want this floating around Twitter. I want someone to get this in the rumor mill, and then we will claim it as starting here. So, I mean, that's the real goal of this whole thing.
And we certainly would acquire some more ESPN games in that kind of situation. I mean, you could not deny the Charlotte Hornets chances to be on ESPN and TNT at that point.
As long as Zion's playing, I mean, even LaMelo is getting all of the ESPN games, and so
add a big name coach to that trio, right?
Yeah, who's the big coach out there? Hey, let's just get Mark Jackson.
I'm telling you, we're moving topic to topic. Now we're going to coaches. Yeah. David, what are your thoughts? So we got an opening, obviously. Have we gotten your thoughts on the Borrego firing at all?
Oh yeah, remember? I don't know if you remember, Doug. We did 2 pods last Friday, and on the second one, it was all.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry guys. Number 1, I have a baby. Number 2, I've been away from the baby for a few days, which is making me all kinds of feelings. Yeah. And then also I was up until probably midnight covering the NFL draft. That thing moves. How does it move a mile a minute and yet still last until midnight? I don't know.
Are you in Dallas, Doug? Are you still in Dallas?
I'm in the Big D. I'm in Dallas, baby.
So you're away from the kids. So you actually probably slept the best you have
but it's not good sleep. That's the thing. When I've been away from the kiddo, it hasn't been good sleep because I've been on these work trips. And work trips are just they're not all they're cracked up to be. Let me just say that. I mean, I know.
Are they cracked up to be a lot in the first place? I guess some of them are. Yeah, okay.
I don't know what they're cracked up to be, but they're not what they're cracked up to be. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Now, we've done great work, and I've enjoyed the work. I'm on lockdown right now. Got to be careful here.
Easy.
But it's a lot of work. So it's not a lot of play time, not a lot of fun time. It's a lot of work time, and you can tell it right here. You can see this was picks 1 through 15. This little thing under my eye here, and this little bag under my eye here was picks 15 through. How many teams are in the NFL?
16 through 32 is that?
Yeah, all right, 32. That's right. That's bag number 2 right there.
All right, Doug is tired, and David has to leave here soon. So let's go ahead and get to the next segment. Doug, you take care of yourself, David.
Coaching thoughts, next segment. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get through David's text, but first, I want to talk about Built Bar. I'm not gonna go with the whole graphic thing. I don't know exactly what we're capable of with you in Dallas and you having those bags under your eyes. So we're just gonna roll into the next segment. Summer's coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. What's perfect for that are Built Bars. The best part about Built Bars is that they're healthy and they're delicious. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. The OG flavors are phenomenal. The limited time flavors are great, like banana cream pie. They even have churro flavors that are great. They really only get up to about 140 calories max. You can sign me up for that any day of the week. Just go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Plenty more topics, maybe more fake trades, coaching decisions. We'll talk about that next on the Locked On Hornets podcast. All right, looking at the next couple of bullet points in David's text. One thing we can maybe move through quickly. Not sure.
19 through 42.
That's right.
And his PowerPoint presentation.
This is the ideas. And this is
we did.
This is
no.
This. Okay. All right.
Look,
I don't think anyone asked. These were unprompted, but I love them. I mean,
but Doug, I want him to continue to give us these. And now that he's like, well, all right, if they didn't ask, I won't provide them. No, please provide them still. Hey, and this is the next bullet point.
I have to apologize real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if you can hear it, but my hotel room has the loudest air conditioning system, and the vent is huge.
That's good.
It's crazy.
Is it really cold in there? I mean, have you changed the temperature enough?
I changed the temp. I run a little cool. So
you would think
crank it down.
You would think hotels would want to save more energy, but how come every hotel room I walk into, they just want to blast the cold air coming into the room?
It's all about most people like that. I run against the grain there. I like it a little toasty in my hotel room. Yeah, I think most people like to keep it cool.
That's true. It just still feels freezing. Here's the next bullet point. There's a movie coming from Matt Damon and Ben Affleck playing Sonny and Phil and their pursuit of Michael Jordan. Is that going to be a good movie? Does this look like a good sports movie or a bad sports movie? And we're still going to watch it anyway.
Sonny and Phil are who? For those
Sonny Vaccaro, which is a legendary, shoe guy, brought MJ over to Nike, then went over to Adidas, kind of created the whole Adidas, the camps, the sneaker camps. Basically, the way the sneaker industry is set up today was kind of like a lot of that fell under Sonny Vaccaro, and then Phil Knight, of course, who was Nike and is Nike's main guy. So Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Creating a movie about basically Sonny Vaccaro's pursuit of Michael Jordan, and him convincing Nike to give all of their money to MJ instead of kind of spread it around amongst some other younger stars. That's the key thing about this, Doug. Okay, now listen, MJ, as I read it, is being presented as more of a overall shadowy figure. I don't even think we'll get a look at MJ. We may get a look at his back.
Kind of a Steinbrenner Seinfeld situation.
Yeah. We're just going to hear mumbling in the background, and it's just going to be Michael Jordan, but we actually never see him. That might be something that we'll see. That's
the plan right now. So I don't know if we'll see a Dean Smith. I don't know if we'll see MJ's dad, a Dolores Jordan. She was certainly key. The parents were key, and MJ getting to Nike. So I don't know what we'll see, guys. Matt Damon, if you now just Google Sonny Vaccaro. I don't know what they're going to do to Matt Damon, but they've got some prosthetics. I mean, he's going to need some time in the chair.
Sonny Vaccaro was old even then.
Yeah, he was born old. I'm pretty sure. He's never looked like Matt Damon.
No, there's never been a moment in Sonny Vaccaro's life that he's looked like Matt Damon. You're right. That's going to be a great character transformation if they are able to make him accurately look like Sonny Vaccaro. All right,
I got an idea. If they do decide to show Jordan, how about Michael B. Jordan as Michael Jordan?
That's the answer I was thinking too. Like it would just be easy. You don't even have to change the namesake, and it would make too much sense.
Who plays Dean? That's another good question. Who plays Dean Smith?
So there, right now there's a lot of talk about Winning Time, this Lakers show, and everyone's complaining about it. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, but there was a horrible Michael Jordan movie. It wasn't like a Lifetime. It wasn't on Lifetime, but it's awful. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically called like the Legend of Michael Jordan, something awful. But the two actors that play Dean and Phil Jackson in that movie they should be suing. They should have sued. Dean and Phil Jackson should have sued whoever made this movie. It's one of the biggest pieces of garbage I've ever seen. But I'd watch it right now again today. I mean, that's how much I love these basketball stories.
That's how it goes. The sports movies, as a general, are not very good, and yet we're still going to watch them anyway.
Hey, listen, whoever played Michael Jordan in Space Jam, nailed it.
He did a really good job.
What if they got LeBron to play Michael Jordan?
He didn't play it well enough. Michael could have played LeBron way better than LeBron could have played Michael. Can I just tell you guys, this show has been incredibly hard to drive. I just want to tell you guys that right now. It's been amazing.
Well, we're the kids in the back. You've got the little monitors in the back of the seat, but we're not watching them. We're just like, where are we there yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
You are Bart and Lisa asking if we can go to Mount Splashmore every single time. And I'm telling you, we can go there if you just let me drive the car.
I'm barely awake.
Yeah, I know
this is me barely awake.
Doug, can you just fire off coaching takes, David? That's my drive right there. We are at the destination. Coaching takes, David, we'll start with you. And
his driving the car was, Doug, can you fire off coaching takes?
That's it.
David. He just put both names sandwiched.
Take the wheel, Doug.
Go, David.
Yes, I'm out on Quin Snyder. I'm out on everything Jazz. I'm out on Gobert. I'm out on Utah after that performance last night. I think
Charlie
Quinn,
Parker, all of it, all Jazz, done.
New Orleans, you too. You're out. Except for you, Zion, you're in.
Now you're like Homer Simpson in The Simpsons when he cut all the kids from his football team. You're cut. You're cut.
But I think Quinn has kind of been in the hopper a little bit. He's under contract another year. Then he's got a coach's option for an extension the year after that. It doesn't sound like the Jazz. No, it doesn't sound like the Jazz are planning to move on. I think
that's what they say.
It's in Quinn's court, is what it sounds like to me, Doug, whether he would like to move on.
He's out.
And I don't know. I heard Brian Scalabrine on NBA radio this morning, and he said there's no way Danny Ainge.
All right,
let's go of Quin Snyder.
Hold on to that take.
We'll see. He knows. He knows Ainge better than I.
Scalabrine, get out of here. Oh no! Listen, no, not even Danny Ainge knows what Danny Ainge is going to do. We all know that. Like nobody knows what Danny Ainge is going to do.
How he looked very confused last night, so he was trying to figure some stuff out.
Danny Ainge will tell you what he's almost going to do in hindsight.
Right, that's what Scalabrine
almost did. Yeah.
That's what he told. That's what I'm saying. That's what Ainge told Scalabrine. He said, "I'm almost."
Well, how do you like
not
that
going
fit?
to
Okay, so let's say he does leave or whatever, decides to go do something else. Do you like that fit? Because the only defense I saw worse than the Jazz was the Hornets this year.
But if they haven't always been bad. I mean, this particular year they really struggled. But I think, to me, the Quin Snyder situation is very reminiscent of the Steve Clifford situation. Like, time has run out, the message is worn thin. The player, some of the players are ready for a change of scenery, and I think a shakeup is in order, and that's why I call BS on whatever Ainge is saying.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying
I think Quin Snyder's out.
Yeah, with the Quin Snyder stuff, and I know this is a Sam Amick article I think you read, David, if I'm not mistaken, on Quinn, and whether it's his shot on whether he wants to leave or the Jazz's call on whether he wants to, whether they're going to get rid of him. But as far as the Jazz situation goes, it seems like it's Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, clearly their best two players. Their relationship has been torn almost ever since Rudy Gobert got COVID, and then Donovan Mitchell caught it from Rudy Gobert because Rudy is out here being reckless. Touching all of the microphones as David is, Doug isn't actually playing the piano. He's touching all the microphones. So that's what Rudy Gobert was doing. Donovan got pissed off because of his recklessness with it. And I feel like there's always been a rift between them. And so I don't know what Quinn's relationship is with Donovan. I don't know what it is with Rudy Gobert. I don't know if you read that.
Rudy, I like you as a person. But you kicked off a worldwide pandemic, and I just can't get over that. I just can't get over that.
It's really tough. I understand Donovan. Was there any mention of that, David, or was there? Because that's, to me, like, I like the system. I think a lot of the defensive woes were personnel based, and obviously Rudy Gobert can hide a lot of those flaws, and that's exactly what they try to do. Playoffs, right? Gets played off the floor in some instances. Yeah. I get that whole argument, but you'll still take Rudy as somebody that you can bring in for the regular season, and then you can go to a small ball lineup. Like, you just need better options. If you have better defenders than some of the other players that the Jazz had, then there you go. Maybe you can get by.
Yeah, no, I mean, their perimeter guys basically either gave up or are too old, I guess, in Mike Conley's case, to stay in front of guys or whatever reason. They were trying to funnel everyone to Gobert, and just in these playoffs, it just left all these corner threes, all these threes open, so they were getting drilled. It wasn't a good look. It hasn't been a good look for anybody on the Jazz. I think I'm also out on Gobert now, guys. Wow. I can't. You're a ridiculous person. I can't go in. I can't pay that much money.
That's my problem.
For someone that's just going to get, it's too much money at this point. There's nothing he gives you on the offensive end. I think he would give you more, obviously, playing with LaMelo. He gets some easy looks, but it's got to be very easy for him to just go up and dunk it. Like, he's not giving you anything else. You certainly can't throw it to him inside. So for that much money, it makes it harder.
And now, real quickly, I do think that might actually be a fault of Quin Snyder. Like, overall, I like the system. I do think that Rudy Gobert could be used a lot more offensively. And I think a lot of that has to do with Donovan kind of going ISO, taking over, really playing a lot through him. You also have some other guys you're trying to exercise, like Mike Conley, Joe Ingles, right? So when you talk about those players, Rudy kind of gets to be the odd man out. Offensively, he could be valuable. Ultimately, I'm with you. It's not that Rudy's a bad player. And if the Hornets made this trade, then it would be okay, this kind of sucks because it's a lot of money, but the product on the floor is going to be night and day considering what we had on defense and what we had as far as rim protection. Doug, you want to finish the thoughts on that?
I will not be like, oh, this sucks. I will not care. Number one, it's not it's not my money. I don't care how much money it is. Number two, B,
it's someone's money. There are rules. This is a society, Doug. There are rules.
I don't care. B, that's a great place to spend your money on a player that you know has the potential to win Defensive Player of the Year literally every season. I would have seen the thing is
ever won anyone, Doug?
Championships. The thing is, it's all perspective, right? We watch what Utah went through in this series, and we go, "Wow, why would we want that disappointment?" But that's like year 3 or 4 for them. That like time has run out on that particular organization of coach, scheme, and players. But I would die for the Hornets to go through 4 years of whatever the Jazz have been through instead of 4 more years of what we've been through as
number
Hornets
one
fans.
seed. Number one seed last year.
So if they find a way to get Rudy Gobert here, I will run through the halls screaming with some amount of clothes on.
So here's the thing. I don't think you need to take any clothes off. I don't think you need to die to try to go through what the Jazz did.
Some amount of clothes on. It will be, I would say I put the over-under at, honestly, I put the over-under at 1.
What I'm telling you is that you don't need to take any clothes off or die. I'm telling you. Yeah. And the thing, yes, we've seen this Jazz project. Also, it has, you're right, year 3, 4, 5, whatever. And that was when Rudy Gobert was that many years younger. Yeah, that's my whole point. I would
say I would not do Quin Snyder and Rudy Gobert. Like I would not make Quin the coach.
That's too much Jazz.
I would also not make Frank Vogel and Russell Westbrook. There are a couple of player coach combinations I would not explore. I would not explore Vogel, Westbrook. I would not explore Quin Snyder, Rudy Gobert.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because I know we got to jump. Is Charlotte the perfect landing spot for Rudy Gobert?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably. Charlotte has been center needy for a long time, so it would make a lot of sense. David, you have to go, correct? You cannot stick around for another segment.
We only got through about 7% of my thoughts. We'll kick him for the rest of the summer.
Okay. That's 7% of David's thoughts. Thanks again to David Walker joining us here on the Locked On Hornets podcast. All right. We are a lot closer to my face, and as I am speaking directly in front of your face, I want to talk to you about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. You can head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. Bet online, where the game starts. Also want to give a shout out to Rock Auto. This episode is brought to you by rockauto.com. With the ever increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? You don't have to do that anymore. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. They have everything you could need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil. They even have new carpet. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or your truck. Right, Locked On and their How Did You Hear About Us box, so they know that we sent you. They have an amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com. All right, we'll put a bow on this edition of the Locked On Hornets podcast. Coming up next, I want to talk about maybe one center target, more fake trades, and maybe Doug and I just talk and draft too. Yes. Lots of topics. Me and Doug maybe talk about David's text coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast. As it has been so often this regular season, this offseason, we're going to continue to talk about it. The center position, I mean, it has been a topic for so long.
I'm ready for it to be. I'm ready for it to not be a topic anymore.
I know you are.
That's Rudy, why you asked me like why I'd be so excited about Rudy Gobert. That's exactly why, because I'm done. I would much rather move on to some other interesting topics. And honestly, they have other needs. This team has other needs than center, but that's the one that you can't get away from and that they haven't addressed.
Yeah, and I want to talk about maybe another trade that you could make and maybe get off some salary. But like the center stuff, you know, I know you want to swing for a big time player. That's more generally speaking, just get a star. Doesn't have to be at center. You're not putting that limit on it. But we also kind of go to a Rudy Gobert, or even on a minor scale, your fringe all-star in Miles Turner, your fringe defensive player of the year, which if you're a top 5 guy, then that's more than just fringe. That's an elite kind of guy. But can you go bargain shopping again if you get it right? Like if you can go, let's say like one example here. When you look at the free agent centers, Doug, I was taking a look at some of the guys that would be available for Charlotte. Mitchell Robinson has always been somebody that's been tossed out there. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson has been really interesting. He fouls all the time, but still he's a really good defender. And so that would be somebody of note. But also, one guy that I feel like is on everybody's underground wish list, Isaiah Hartenstein for the Clippers. There's somebody that can stretch the floor a little bit. When you talk about what he's been able to do defensively, a lot of people value that as well. Everything that he's done, you look at this article on Bleacher Report, kind of talking about some of the better center options in free agency. This is
James
what
Plowright, I think, put that together.
Bleacher Report. He went to Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, he did some stuff for Sports Illustrated. You should go check that out as well.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, just a random shout out to James Plowright.
No, he did. I think Plowright put together some free agent rankings that are on Sports Illustrated.
All right, maybe we can talk about that next episode. James, hopefully you're doing well. Shout out to you. All right, holler at you. Being a year, this is the write up in Bleacher Report. Being a year younger isn't a huge deal for Isaiah Hartenstein, but it's something. What's more important is Isaiah Hartenstein's super mobility on the perimeter, more vertically explosive game, and also has a crafty passing out of rolls to the rim. All of that translated to a top 20 box plus minus, averages of 17 points, 10 rebounds, almost 5 assists, over 2 blocks, 1.5 steals per 75 possessions, and a 66% true shooting percentage. I mean, those numbers are outstanding. And it is. And you could probably get him a little bit cheaper. Now, it doesn't mean that nobody knows about him. The NBA teams certainly are going to read into those numbers, but is there a way that you could bring him in? Like, I just wonder, is that going to be a player that doesn't satisfy the itch of fans in the moment, but then maybe we come back to realize, hey, pretty shrewd move by whatever the front office is at that time?
It could possibly be. I mean, I love all of those numbers you just threw in my face, those stats you just launched into my grill there. I enjoyed it. Yeah, but it wouldn't excite anyone. I mean,
right.
So, yeah, and I think they always have to balance that, the basketball need to put a winning product on the floor, but also they've got to, there is a desire to sell tickets, and Isaiah Hartenstein is not selling any tickets. So there might have to be some other consideration at some other position. But maybe with LaMelo Ball there, maybe you take some of those considerations away because he's always going to be Ball. Well, not always. It just depends on what name they bring in because Ball sold the 14th most NBA jerseys in the league, though. So, I mean, he already has that sort of name draw popularity, but they got to put a winning product on the floor. So I'm with you. Isaiah Hartenstein, I don't care. Just bring the stats. And bring the rim protection. That's all I care. I would Rudy Gobert, Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't care.
Yeah, well, and that's just the thing too. Like when you sign Miles Bridges, you are going to be extremely limited to the point where you can't really do anything else. When you talk about all this money tied up, remember you still have the dead cap for Nick Batum. That's going to come off after this season, I believe. Finally, right? We can finally get rid of that. And you also are Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, we're going to see how those guys, exit the franchise. If Terry is even somebody they want to, we don't even know that. We do know that the Charlotte Hornets are going to explore Gordon Hayward a lot more. Terry is just kind of the wild card. Maybe throw him in because he's got more value, really because of his availability. But I don't know if that's going to be something they actually do. And let's say you don't pull off, one of the moves that frees your cap flexibility a little more. So are there ways to where you can land a Hartenstein or a Mitchell Robinson or somebody like that? And,
or do you take a risk and believe that there's somebody in the draft like a Mark Williams or a Jalen Duren who can immediately come in and solve your problems? I hope they don't do that because I think that's such a risky thing to expect, a rookie center to come in. And defense is the toughest even players who are really good defensive players. It's the toughest transition to make coming into the NBA for these young guys. And so it's just a completely different deal going from college to the NBA on the defensive end of the floor. So I hope they don't take that risk, even though they have several center prospects that should be, we're pretty early in this, we've been doing these draft sims, right? And the Hornets are around that, the 13th pick and the 15th pick. That's most likely where they're going to be. And some of these names like Mark Williams and and Jalen Duren are hanging around those spots, but a lot can change, between now and the draft. We just don't know. Like Mark, this happens to me every year. I fall in love with a player, and that player, shoots up the draft board, several weeks before it's all said and done. So Mark Williams may be that player. I think Duren might already be out of reach, and so the Hornets would have to figure something out if they really wanted to go after that player. But I just think it's so risky to do something like that, Walker.
Well, yeah, and the thing now though is, and look, this comes from benefiting from the rise from the New Orleans Pelicans barely getting into the playoffs, but you get that first round pick because of that trade that you made for Devontae Graham, and so they sneak in. You get that first round pick. And remember, if they wouldn't have won, if New Orleans wouldn't have won in the play-in tournament, then that first round pick, it's not one of these things where the protection lightens up and then conveys. Like it was either, it was a make or break year for that. It was going to convey into a couple of second rounders and you wouldn't have had that first rounder. So they literally get the best situation possible by getting that 15th overall selection. You have something to play with there. Can you use one of those first round selections as a sweetener for any deal you want to make? And then use the other one on a potential fall for Mark Williams. I don't know. I mean, 13 is kind of where, he's been mocked to the Hornets a lot. I could see him rising up because of his standing reach, because of his mobility as well. His improvement defensively was, crazy impressive last year. That would be a home run to me. Using one of those first round picks to sweeten any deal to get off of cap, bring in somebody, I don't know who, but then also be able to get a Mark Williams. That's one scenario. And Doug, how expendable is Kai Jones right now? Because we're kind of we don't have a whole lot of time to wait for people to come aboard or, to get it figured out. And if Kai was always going to be a long-term project, Mark Williams could be a project and still not be as long-term as Kai Jones. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, do you pick one? The Kai Jones wrinkle into this is interesting.
You're like David.
Too.
You're just throwing out. I'm just throwing out lots of ideas. Hey, before we go, should we do it? Should we do it? Should we sim the lottery?
Of course, you were going to do this. Yes. And I knew, even with a haphazard show, I knew you were going to have you have this in your holster at all times, and here you are bringing it out once again.
It's the one thing that I'm capable of doing for Dallas is I've always got the 2022 NBA draft lottery simulator thanks to Tankathon. All right, are we ready? Drum roll. Boop, 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 boop. So quick. The Hornets didn't get lucky. 13-15.
The problem is that you already moved so far up in the draft. I think we got the number 3 pick, number 2 or something like that. And now we've got so much time left. We've already struck gold. So
18 days, 8 hours, 45 minutes, 6 seconds.
That's actually a lot. It's actually not that much time. I didn't realize it was that close. It's crazy how fast this moves. Yeah, I like the idea of Doug waking up and before he leaves the house, okay, wallet, keys, mock draft simulator. All right, we're good. Now we can be ready for the day.
Here's something interesting. If you go Mark Williams and Walker Kessler, how about that? I'm not a huge Kessler fan. Obviously, I'm a Carolina fan, so he sort of betrayed my fandom there. But, I had a couple of 7-footers. One, I feel like Kessler might be a little bit – I've still got to do my draft research, but just from my base – amount of knowledge, I feel like Kessler's a little bit more skilled offensively, maybe, right?
I don't think
Mark
so.
Williams?
Mark Williams. Mark Williams is a good rim runner. He's got touch. He's actually a pretty good free throw shooter. He's shot 75% this past season. Now he didn't hit, the free throws that mattered in the North Carolina game in the Final Four, but he still is a pretty good free throw shooter. So maybe there's something to work with there.
The point is you got options.
Well, what's
funny,
options, but the problem is though, then you have Kai Jones, Nick Richards, Walker Kessler, Mark Williams. You just traded Vernon Carey. At some point it's got to hit. If you just want to play the numbers game, that's what Mitch Kupchak or the Charlotte Hornets would be doing in that scenario. All right, that'll do it. Fun Friday. Thanks to David Walker for joining us. Thanks to you guys for joining us on this edition, making us your first listen. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free. It's available wherever you get your podcast. Have a great weekend, maybe an NFL draft weekend. We'll be back on Monday to continue our player capsules.